Hello and welcome to a special edition of Heavenly Album Covers, featuring the album covers of President Joseph Biden. The entire staff of Heavenly Album Covers really admires and thinks that President Biden is a great president. We've been watching his career since the early 90s. And he's just a great politician, a great leader. He's done a lot of great things for the country, and we've decided to devote this edition of Heavenly Album Covers to a hidden aspect of President Joe. He's put out lots of albums, we found out, and his albums are very hard to find, almost impossible. They're very rare. They were all limited pressings. And so the only way we found out about them is through a file that we found on Pirate Bay, the downloading site. And this file contained a lot of Joe Biden album covers. It's amazing. I personally didn't know that he was a singer, but anyway, let's keep going. Let me do this introduction and then we'll get to the album covers. President Joe Biden was born in 1942 in Pennsylvania, and he developed many talents, including singing. As a teenager, choir and hello, Joe sang in the school, and welcome to a special edition of Heavenly. There's President, I think. And here's the first album. It's called Biden Moods. And it's at a time when Joe was singing light folk music, almost, I guess you'd call it. I've never heard this album, but the cover is great. This is at a point where Joe let his hair grow a little bit. The next album is called Whoops. No Joke. This is the first time Joe used that catchphrase, no joke, and he's doing a little bit of a tribute to pop music of Great Britain. He's all dressed up. He's got a nice top on and some sort of hair hat. It's a hat made out of hair, but Joe looks very happy. He's really glad that he's on a record cover. Here's Joe's collaboration with the German band Kraftwerk. It's called Come On Man, and there's a beautiful image of Joe here on the album cover with this very stark, almost Dadaistic lettering and design motif. This is when Joe hit the country western bandwagon. This album is called Luke. Actually, it's called Biden Country Gold, but this was at a stage where Joe went by the name Luke Biden, and he did this country album. I have heard parts of this album, and it's really good. He does some country standards and a couple of originals, but you can see that he's got the hair of the era. The hair from the era, it's hard to say. He has the hair from the era of the country western era. Big hair, I guess you'd call it. This is a later album of Joe's. It's called Bad Bad Joe. And it's when Joe tried to be like a boy band kind of style. He was real hip. Real great. This is all electro dance music on here, from what I understand. And this cover's just great. Joe's got a great smile on his face. The lettering is really nice, really clear. This album is Joe's attempt at New York rap music. This album is called Biden's Boutique. Joe really looks great on the cover. His face and head is really zoomed in on here, and he's posing in front of a really dirty, gritty New York backdrop here. He looks great. This is Biden's Boutique. That's hard to say, too. This is one of Joe's stranger albums. At this time, Joe was he was using a symbol as his name. This is the symbol he was using for a name. And this album is called Do You Think I'm Biden? Somehow someone talked Joe into posing naked on the cover, so you might like this, you might not like it, but I think it's a great cover. Joe is posing before some big flowers here, and you can see Joe's calf down here, although Joe is going by the symbol name at this point. This is another album that Joe recorded with guest stars Keith Richards, and way back here is bassist Bill Wyman. This album is called At the Beach because Joe really likes the beach. He's at the beach all the time. And here's the great cover. That almost looks like the cover of Joe's Boutique or Biden's Boutique. The image of Joe is really up front in this album cover, and Keith Richards looks great. This is Joe's playful rap album called 3 Feet High and Biden. And at this point, Joe was going strictly as the name Joseph, just one name, Joseph. And he was just, he was at his high point, I think, from what I understand. And this is apparently just a real playful rap album where Joe raps about stuff. And you can see on the cover, there's 3 of Joe. It kind of demonstrates his multiple personality kind of thing. Let's see what's next. This album is called Brain Salad Biden, and Joe was doing the progressive rock thing. This album came out under the name The Joe Biden Thing, and Joe looks very happy here. He looks like he's being put inside some metal casing or something, and it's very moody, it's very progressive, and it's very wonderful. And finally, here's a very, very rare album, collaboration between Dr. Jill Biden and Joe. This album is called Dr. Jill and Mr. Joe, and they cover soft hits. It's like various Brazilian, like a Brazilian flavor on this album, and here they are posing. They look real happy. They're, I think at this point they just got married, and it's a great title for an album too. So that's Dr. Jill and Mr. Joe, and that's our Joe Biden collection from the internet. And